These are stations of the universe, because the universe is the sacred journey. The Stations of the Cross constitutes a way of renewing the redemption story. But here we are dealing with the story of the universe. And what's very important is to establish the relationship between the story of the universe and the story of redemption. And here we have the magnificence of the primordial creation world almost. Here we have the vegetation, we have the birds, we have the water, the lake here that's so expansive, and it all gives a person a sense of majesty. What is so important right now, though, is that all this is threatened, and we're into the passion of the earth.
The beginning of the universe is what is called the Big Bang. And it means that from this incredibly small event burst forth, Brian Swimme calls it the flaring forth of the universe. And as we see in the words that accompany it, everything that we have today comes from that very singularity, they call it. And what we need to do is try to appreciate it. The second station is the emergence of our own planet, which is 2/3 water. You and I are 2/3 water. Ocean waters run in our veins. We are all engaged enormously in the web of life. But we don't think about that too much either. And mostly we don't appreciate that we are a species. You know, we think of ourselves in terms of the great dignities that we have, and hallelujah, we have them, but we're also a member of a species. So put some of your thoughts about, you know, wolves or bears or ants or something, and say, okay, where do we fit into this web of life? As Tom would say, our story is the earth story, and the earth story is the universe story. So we are, our history, we speak in terms of deep history now, that if we hold to the reality of who we are, we started at least 4.5 billion years ago. Think about that. Tom talks also about the severity of what we're doing, not just in physical terms, which is obvious to any scientist, but also in religious terms, that it is to extinguish a manifestation of God's goodness. To take any part of that and wipe it out is to wipe out something that's actually talking to us about the divine. The human is, you can see in the picture, that's like one face, or it's two faces. There's a severe face and there's a more benign face. There's strong lines and there's more fluid lines. It's speaking to the complexity that we as humans actually are. Teilhard de Chardin, when looking at the human journey, compared it actually to the way of the cross. When Carolyn was doing the station, which we talk about as being thematic rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, one of the beautiful things that she did, as she explained, was to open out this area here so that the severity of the cross is there, but she talks about an open space in the mystery of the cross that allows for the flowers. The rise of agriculture is also very interesting because it dramatizes the beginnings of the deterioration of the earth, which our intervention in agriculture started to produce, right? So you begin to see that colorless divide that is now introduced into the earth complexity, and we're the ones that got it going. So when we make this artificial distinction between what's living and what's not living, maybe we're not looking long enough. If we look billions of years, the complexity gets a lot stronger. As you can see, in this one, that separation gets bigger and bigger. So what we're witnessing in the time of human flourishing through culture and through religion is a gradual sense of separation from the earth, which in turn motivates us to treat the earth in a way that expresses our separation. Like, why bother, right? Why is this important? Because I'm really not a part of it. That's the illusion. In Tom's words, what we need to do is to understand that our culture and our religion is deeply affected by how much we can appreciate the sacredness of the earth's processes. One of the things to be sensitive to there maybe is it's much more accurate to talk about earth processes than the earth. You say the earth as a static thing doesn't exist, right? I mean, you only have to think of earthquakes. They don't come from outside, they come from inside. Where does growth, where does soil come from? It comes from inside. Where do we come from? Remember, person of earth, that you are dust. You are soil. You'll notice too, you have a tree, and the tree is double emphasis. One is red, the head of the quasi-human form is red, which denotes suffering, and in another sense, it's white, which is celebration, exaltation, joy. So there's a complexity in terms of the tree of life, particularly as it is expressed in culture and religion. In the rise of science and technology, we see two things. We see the opulence of the earth and the destructive clouds of atomic power. And the text here might seem a little confusing. Brian Swimme is talking about a weird kind of an experience. When you're standing there, to think about the fact that the earth is whirling around the sun. We're on the earth, we're whirling around the sun. If the sun broke that relationship with us, we'd be gone. We're out. And what he's advocating is, as he says, to contemplate the solar system until you feel this immense planet being swung around the massive cosmic partner, and therefore touch an ocean of wonder. We could get afraid. We could get to the point where we couldn't sleep at night, wondering whether the earth is going to travel on its own. What we need to do is to allow ourselves to wonder at this amazing event, which is happening as he says, every minute of every day, and has been for 4.5 billion years. When you do that, he says you take a first step into inhabiting the actual universe and solar system and Earth. The last one is the rise of the flowers. All of a sudden, over millions of years, you go from a bleak-looking planet to a very colorful-looking planet. But not only that, but a planet wherein life forms are flourishing like they never did before, among which happens to be us. So if there weren't the flowers, there would not be us. That's how important it is. Because of that distinctiveness, we made a decision, an executive decision, I guess you'd call it, to put the flowers at the end rather than in their evolutionary order, because they are a symbol of hope for us. This beautiful fact that the earth was transformed by the emergence of the flowers. And that brings us back to the cross too, because in that space for something more than the suffering, something more than the degradation that we're causing, more than misunderstanding with which we approach the earth, there's a space for that.
What we are doing here is affecting, and the atoms in our bodies affecting every other atom in the universe. This is a cosmic event. Us standing here is not only a local event, not only a Canadian event, not only a human event, or an event of the planet, it's an event of the cosmos. And for people to get that idea that we are human beings, we're living beings, we're earth beings, we're cosmic beings. And ultimately have that relationship with the deep mystery, the sacred dimension of the cosmos, and that's what religion is. And so to meditate here, to look out and see the curvature of space, is just remarkable, because it has all these resonances, and we miss it, whereas it's so clear, and where it's so scientifically verifiable, where it's religiously so magnificent. To miss this is to miss everything. What are we living for? If we're not living to have that inner experience of this whole grand ensemble of voices and of presences to each other.